Right. Minor technical difficulties, that's fine. Just started a couple minutes late. All good. So today I'm going to be going over the money trap of beliefs. My name is Caleb Ufton, the Rich Mind Coach. So first of all, a little bit about me. That's a lovely picture of me. Recently, I won second place at a Toastmasters competition I entered in. I first started changing my own beliefs when I was quite young. I was 17 and I overcame depression in 2 months without medication. It was the first major shift in my beliefs that I experienced. When I moved country to be a father, I landed the perfect job within 3 months after arriving. And when I say perfect, I mean it's perfect for what I wanted, to be a dad during the week. So I only worked weekends. Absolutely fantastic. I learned hypnosis from Gerald Kine, who's fantastic, Igor Little-Wachowski, I had to double check how to spell his name, Tad James, Anthony Jacqueline, and many, many more, including Igor's mentor, in fact, which is a guy called John Overduff. So I had a phobia of heights, a fear of heights. I thought it was perfectly rational, and it hadn't really hindered me too much until I was trapped on the side of a staircase going up to a giant slide, and my son was at the top saying, "Come on, Dad." I very quickly overcame that fear in about 30 seconds. And I had a belief about safety, so that's why that's there. It was a belief about safety and heights, and I had that for 20 years, and I was able to flip that around. And most recently, I was in a bit of a rough patch, and I felt like I wasn't really succeeding in what I was doing. And after some back and forward, I was able to change my belief about what success actually meant. And I was able to do that in about 5 minutes. And my wife reports that I seem 50 to 60% less stressed as a result of that. So why stick around? Why listen to this? Well, many people struggle to get by with just the job. And there are plenty of people that do. Fine, not a problem. There are many ways to make money aside from just having a job. The thing is, most people don't. Most people go to the job, they work their 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or shift work, and they do it day in, day out, and they expect things to get better. And if they're clued up, then cool. Over time things will get better. They'll put money into a house or whatever, and they'll get along. They'll manage. Most people struggle. They struggle from day to day. They might be getting ahead, but they're still struggling. There's a fantastic quote from Abraham Lincoln: "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." And I would like to suggest that the axe in our situation tonight is that of mindset. It's that of mindset, and beliefs are absolutely fundamental when it comes to mindset. And the thing is, changing beliefs is actually quite simple. Sure, if you've got some seriously ingrained ones, it can be a bit of work, but that doesn't mean it's a complicated process. It is a simple process. Just type into the little chat box if you're following. If you get any questions, just let me know. Just enter a little chat message box there. So what I'm going to cover is how to basically go from being restrained to free, from feeling poor to feeling wealthy, to thinking like you never have enough, to feeling and thinking like you've got more than enough. And essentially, the basics to going from a poor mind to a rich mind. And I'm going to do this tonight by just going over one of my 5 keys. So as the Rich Mind Coach, one of the things I have is the 5 keys to a rich mind. discover, uproot, transform, charter, and set sail. Tonight I'm just going to be focusing on uproot. It's the one that deals with beliefs, and beliefs are, in my opinion, one of the easiest things to change. So is money a trap? Oh, I'll come back. Here we go. Is money a trap? It would be really great if, for all those of you who are in the chat at the moment, just to post, your beliefs around whether or not money is the trap. Why isn't this updating? That's strange. I'm really hoping you can see my slides. Really hoping you can see my slides. All right, so many people have some interesting beliefs about money, and I'm going to get on to that in a moment. I really like this picture. It's like a giant bear trap. If you have a look at the size of the flowers there, they're like, this thing's huge, right? It's to catch like a Godzilla or something. It's a big trap. It's a big trap. And the thing is, in a way, money is a trap. People chase it and they feel like they don't have enough of it. And there's a very interesting process that happens in our mind that causes us to get more of what we focus on. And so if we're focusing on what we don't have, i.e. money, or if we don't have enough of it, we're going to get more of not enough of it. And of course, this won't be new to many of you. Many of you, possibly have seen The Secret or heard of the law of attraction and all that sort of thing. And, there's some good stuff in there. There's a couple of things missing, unfortunately, but there is some good stuff in there. So in a way, money could be the trap. But I think it's not money that's the trap. I think it's belief. Belief that's the trap. We get trapped into these beliefs around that there isn't enough. So we believe it. We believe there isn't enough. We believe that we have to work a 9 to 5. We believe that we have to struggle to get ahead. We believe that we need to work hard to earn our money, because that's what our parents did. They had to work hard. So I think belief can be the trap, because quite often we won't actually examine them, and we continue operating as though it's real, when in fact it may not be. Just wanting to double check that everyone can see the slides. All right, so moving on. How beliefs can trap you. So here's some beliefs about money that I drew up very briefly. I kid you not, this took me a couple of minutes to do up. I was on a call, and I just needed something to do to pass the time while I was on that call. And I just started banging out some things that I'd heard people say, which were essentially beliefs about money. So, some of these, I have a fixed income, or who says it's a fixed income? I work a 9 to 5. Who says it's a 9 to 5? Who says you have to work a 9 to 5? How beliefs can trap you. So here's some beliefs. I can't earn more than my father or mother. The concept of a glass ceiling. I can't take a risk. That's one that I've struggled with, and that I know quite a few people, family people, struggle with. Is they want to get ahead, but they're scared of taking that risk, of exposing their family. Money doesn't buy happiness. This is a great one. I used to sing this one, and on the one hand, sure, you know, there are people who are really, really rich who aren't happy. And there are people who are really, really poor that are happy. But on the flip side, if you know where to shop, money can buy you experiences. It can solve problems. So it may not give you happiness all the time, but it gives you more options. And I'm a huge, huge believer in options. I think the more options you have, the better. So moving on, money corrupts. You know, time is money. Money is evil. You know, for me to win in the stock market, someone else has to lose. All that sort of thing. You know, the government will look after me. It's a big one for sort of older people, my parents, that sort of generation. Superannuation, yeah. My friend saying, you know, will our super even exist? So I've taken steps to actually taking control of my super and getting to use it now before the government whittles it away. A penny saved is a penny earned. No, a penny saved is a penny saved. Just because you didn't spend it doesn't mean you earned it twice. Real estate goes in 7-year cycles. Yeah, 7 to 10 years, sure, but you know there are some places where real estate doubles in value in 4 years, 5 years, and some places where it hasn't doubled in value in 20 years. You know, banks are safe. This one bothers me. Something great. Savings accounts are good. Savings accounts. I have a special slide for this. Investing is risky. Yeah, so it's doing nothing, and I'll touch on that. Family, friends, and co-workers give advice. It's so dangerous to take advice from your friends. Your friends are great, and you know they may want the best for you, but they may also want you to stay where you are. And unless they actually have experience or expertise in the area you're after for advice, there is no logical reason for you to take their advice. None whatsoever. And lastly, financial planners know best. The financial planning industry, especially in Australia, is largely owned by banks. And they also have a legal obligation to minimize your exposure so they can't be sued. So they know best as far as keeping the banks making money and keeping themselves in business is concerned. As far as looking after your money goes, well, do your research. Now, big disclaimer here, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a licensed tax advisor or a licensed financial educator or anything like that. I'm a guy that deals with mindset and deals with belief, and I'm going to tell it like it is. And if you don't like that, fine. Go do your own research, see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. Let me know. So a note about savings. I did some quick research, and the highest base interest rate you can get on a savings account at the moment is about 2.72% per annum, which is all right. CPI in January 2015 was at a national low. I want you to get national, okay, national low of 1.7. So your interest rate is looking at 1.02% right there, okay? So if you have 10 grand in the bank for a year, 10% is $1,000, 1% is $100. You're looking at getting $100 for the whole year. Well, $102 for the whole year. When you take inflation into account, assuming it stays that low, Since the financial year 2011, 2012 till now, the average has been 2.36%. 2.36. So you're looking at 30.36%. So for that $10,000 for the year, if we look at inflation as an average, you would have gained $36 over the year for $10,000 sitting in an account, as far as like taking inflation into consideration. So the buying power of that money. And the Reserve Bank of Australia, which is, I believe, a private institution, not a government-owned one, states that the targets, what they try and manipulate things to be, is between 2 and 3%. So just think about this. There have been years where the average inflation has been 3.1, 3.2%. And there are months where that's the case as well, or quarters. If you're getting 2 point something percent interest and inflation is 3 point something, you're actually losing money by having it sit there in terms of buying power. So savings is good when you want to get some capital together, but mindset around saving, like our parents and our parents, they were looking at 7%, 12% interest rates. It was worth saving. If you've got 10 grand in the bank and you can get 12% interest, yeah, go for it. That's 1.2 grand a year. That's a decent return, right? That's better than the stock market in some cases. So I said the stock market average is about 9%. So, that was well worth it. 2 to 3% though, yeah, might have to think about what we're doing there. So moving on, step 2 of my 5-step system and the 5 keys to unlocking your rich mind is uproot. Uproot is all about uncovering your deepest beliefs about money, dislodging your glass ceiling, and disrupting the root cause. Because all beliefs have a root cause. All beliefs have an event which caused you to decide something. This is how they work. So I'm going to get into this in detail. I just want you to understand that that's where we're coming from. So there are a few different types of beliefs. This isn't all of them. These are sort of the most common ones. Existence, so something just is. Money is real. Red is red. We all agree that the color red is red, except people who are colorblind. I mean, it's green or red, or I can't tell. Association, A, B. So because A, then B. So for me to win, someone has to lose. For every, $10,000 bonus I get, someone has to miss out. That sort of thing. For every successful trade I make on the stock market, someone has to lose. And the stock market, because this is zero sum, sure, yeah, in most cases. That being said, there are ways to win on the stock market where the loss to someone else is minimal and the win to you is fairly nice. It's all just about doing the research. It is a zero sum game. But property, for you to win in property, someone else doesn't have to lose. Business, for you to win, other people need to win. It's got to be a win-win. Equivalence, time equals money. This is a great one. A lot of us believe time equals money, and we work from this paradigm. We go and we trade hours for dollars. You earn $32 an hour, fantastic. There's a limit to what you can earn. If you're insane and you work 22 hours a day, $32 an hour, and for some reason you work 7 days a week, you're looking at just under $5 grand a week. Cool. You've got tax. Now, tax on that times that by 52, you're looking at 256. That's assuming you didn't take a year off. So you didn't take a single day off. $256,000 definitely puts you in the highest tax bracket. So you better be doing that through a company. Otherwise, you're going to get taxed at close to 50%, which means you're only going to get $128. So you've effectively halved. Your ability to earn your hourly pay rate simply through tax. So there is definitely an element of insanity involved in trading your time for money, unless it's leveraged. If it's leveraged, then different story, different rules apply. And then we have causation. When I earn more money, something comes up to take it. When the cat meows, I get angry. Speaking of cats, when the water bottle comes out, the cat runs away because it knows it's going to get squirted. When something happens, something else happens. Now, I think that one's particularly insidious because we don't necessarily realize where that's happening in our lives, because the trigger can often be innocuous. I'll give you an example. I have a coffee and I smoke. It's a belief. I smoke when I have coffee. So I drink a coffee, have a smoke. People identify. They believe that they are smokers, and that's what they believe, that's one of the times they smoke. You change that belief, well then, hey, they don't smoke, then do that. Or they smoke other times or whatever. But the point is, you can change that. And so the causation, I think, is particularly dangerous. All right, so the reticular activating system. This is a fantastic piece of brain hardware. This thing is just brilliant. I don't know how to describe how awesome this is. Without it, we would probably go mad very, very quickly. This looks for what you have conditioned yourself to look for. So it basically looks for evidence. It filters out anything that's not relevant to you, anything that's not going to hurt you, anything that's not a danger to you, anything that's not a threat, and anything you're not interested in, as well as anything you believe is irrelevant. And it literally edits your reality. It literally edits your perception of the world and thus your reality. To give you an example of this, mentor of mine, or a guy I quite look up to, Darren Brown, did an experiment with luck, and he got people to go through the same scenario, and the people who believed they were lucky turned out to, they found the 50 quid on the ground. People who believed they were unlucky, in some cases, they looked at it, shook their head, and wandered off. Like they just could not believe that that was the case, so they just carried on as though it wasn't. So this is how powerful this thing is. And so another example, this is a fantastic thing for you to do right now, is just take maybe 5-10 seconds, look around the room and see everything that's red. Look around, see everything that's red. Do that now. Look around the room, everything that's red. Fantastic. And now if you close your eyes now, and you have a look around the room mentally in your mind, and you see all the red things, you can probably see quite a few red things. Now I'd like you to have a look in your mind, so with your eyes closed, and see what green things you can see. They'll probably find that it's a bit hard to, and that's because you've been primed to filter through the red things. So if you open your eyes and you have a look around, you'll probably see green things that were actually there. So following the interactive theme right now and the power of the reticular activating system, I'd like you to just take a moment, maybe type in the chat box some of your beliefs about money. What do you believe about money? I went through some earlier up here. There's a lot of beliefs that people have around money. And just chuck them in the chat box, just so I can see where everyone's at. It could be money is fun, it could be money is hard, money is evil. Gotta work hard to get money. Easy come, easy go. Yep. These are all different beliefs that you can have around money. Fantastic. Just chuck them in the chat box, that's brilliant. Excellent. So you might be asking, okay, why do we have beliefs? Sure, we have this fantastic thing that filters our reality and filters things based on our beliefs, but why do we actually have them to start with? Well, there's a few reasons. Beliefs are actually very useful. Very, very useful. We have reality out there, and reality is big. Reality is like crazy, super big. There is so much information, just so much information. It's unbelievable. And through our senses, we interpret this reality, and we get a hell of a lot of information through our senses. So if you're looking, looking at your screen right now, you're not looking behind you, unless you've got an eye in the back of your head or there's a mirror or something. You're not looking behind you. So there's part of your reality which is automatically filtered by the ability of your senses. Your senses still give you a hell of a lot of information. For instance, you're looking at this, you probably, to be doing this, you'd have to be listening to me, but you're probably not aware of how your left foot feels until I draw your attention to it. It had feeling, it always had feeling, it just wasn't relevant. And then you have your thoughts as well. There's so many thoughts. And the reason I put thoughts in here is you don't believe all of your thoughts. You may not, you might believe all of your thoughts, in which case stop that. You are not your thoughts. You need to understand that. You are definitely not your thoughts. But if you believed all of your thoughts, then just think about some of the thoughts you had. At one point, you believed you were 7. You still don't believe you're 7. Unless you're a 7-year-old watching this, in which case, hi. And, maturity ages, emotional ages notwithstanding. You don't still believe you're 7. You've probably believed that, your high school crush was the one for you. And for some of you, I'll acknowledge that it is, and fantastic. Ignore what I'm about to say. And for others, it's not, but you believed that at that one time that they were the one for you. So that your thoughts, you have these thoughts, and sometimes we forget that they're thoughts and we believe that they're actually us. And all of these things, these create our reality. They're the building blocks that become our reality. So we have beliefs because they act like a filter. This cone here is filtering. There's a whole bunch that's falling outside the filter. So our beliefs allow us to filter. I'm a big fan of snowboarding. This isn't a picture of me. I'm not quite that dashing or feminine for that matter. But I love snowboarding. I think snowboarding is fantastic. The last time I went snowboarding, I had some serious beliefs around whether or not I could actually get back down the mountain. It was quite a big mountain. And, I said, what, just give it a go. Just give it a go. It'll be fine. I believe I can do this. Not so much. Again, not me, but it resembles what happened. So our beliefs can be wrong. And whether or not we pay attention to that depends largely on a number of things. So there's this cycle that we go through on how we develop beliefs. We have an event, and then we make a decision. So for my snowboarding, I was at the top of the hill, and I made a decision. I made a conscious decision, and I told myself that I could do it. I could get down there, and I would be safe. I'd be fine. Unconsciously, I probably decided that this was going to hurt. And then we seek evidence. Often the event actually serves as evidence for that. And that creates a belief. So I believe I can do blah, because it is a decision, got some evidence, back it up, all good. It's a belief because it must be true. And that impacts our behavior. So consciously, while I was going slowly down the hill, I was fine. I was in total control. When I got a little faster, closer to being unconscious, the unconscious belief started to go out. My concern about my ability, my concern about my ability to stop and to steer resulted in another event, which resulted in another decision, which I then used the event as evidence for, which created another belief, and that is going down really big hills on a snowboard hurts. But it doesn't if you know what you're doing. That's the thing. So the belief can be very useful. That belief's there to serve. It's there to protect. But it's not necessarily true. I'll give you an example when it comes to money. I believe this for a very long time, and sometimes I still do. I believe that you have to work hard for money. I believe that this comes from my father. He worked very, very hard, bless him, and he worked very long hours. And to his credit, he provided fairly well for our family. They were one of the first people in our little city to have a computer back when they cost $5,000 for 486, and it was that was our life. His marriage broke up due to the amount he was working, and that created another belief: if I work hard, I'll lose my family. Fast forward 20 years, and I've got a family, and I want to get ahead. So what do? Oh, well, I'll work hard. Oh, hang on, but what happens if I work hard? Oh, I'm going to lose my family. Well, I don't want to lose my family. I want to get ahead. Now I'm stuck between two beliefs. On the one hand, working hard is a fantastic way to get more money coming in, especially if you work hard, working smart. On the other hand, the belief that if I work hard, I'm going to lose my family, that doesn't serve me at all. Depending on how much of a family guy I am, that will actually sabotage the working hard. If you think about your mind, if you go back to the reticular activating system, if you think about your mind, are you going to put yourself in a situation, is your mind going to put you in a situation where it's suffering if it can avoid that? It's going to avoid the suffering, right? So it doesn't make much sense for you to put yourself in a situation where you believe there's danger, you believe there's trouble waiting for you if you have an easy alternative. There are many situations where you won't, or where you can logic yourself through it or whatever, and you deal with those when they happen. Sometimes that can be a very good thing. I had to change that belief. Otherwise, there was no way we were going to get ahead, financially and as a family, because I like working. I'm a bit of a workaholic. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that so long as it's healthy, and I do have a good work-life balance. So I have good beliefs in that area now as a result of changing them. So what do you do? How can you stop this trap? So what to do about it? In my mind, you can interrupt this process at any point. I think interrupting it at the event is the easiest, and the reason I think this is the easiest is because of the system I use when I work with people. When I work with people, I take them through a process where we go and we discover what the root cause is, going all the way back to our root, what the root cause is, and we change what's happening there so that you can make better decisions, so you can have better beliefs that actually help you. So by changing the decision about something, what that means to you, if you change that decision, you change the meaning, you can find evidence to back it up, you can create a new belief, which creates new behavior, which changes the event, which creates new events, and you're now on an upward spiral instead of a downward spiral. Fantastic. So going back to my promises for this evening, from restrained to free, by changing your beliefs around what's holding you back, what your limitations are, you can free yourself very literally. Feelings, feeling poor, feeling wealthy, if you believe you're wealthy, you can find evidence for it, right? So by structuring your beliefs correctly, you can feel wealthy even when you don't have a lot of money. And one of the oldest adages, fake it till you make it. From never enough to more than enough, from feeling like you have never enough to feeling like you have more than enough, either case, if you believe that there is more than enough and you look for evidence, you will find it. Okay, if you think there isn't enough, go to an orchard. If there's a fruit tree nearby, look at how much fruit grows on the fruit tree. If there was a government-sanctioned fruit tree, a government-sanctioned peach tree, I believe the example is would be this horrible pointy thing that grows up really all spindly. There'd be two fruit at the top. In order for you to get it, you'd have to get someone, you have to fill out 6 forms, someone would have to come, they'd have to get a ladder, you need someone to hold the ladder, you need a commission to create a tool to cut the peaches down. The peaches would be shriveled, you'd have to half one and give it to the government, you'd have to half the other one to give that to the person that got the stool down, got the stool for you, the ladder, you'd have to give the other half to the person who was holding it, and then you'd get that last little bit. So that's not how life is. In reality, it's not. Go look at a peach tree. It's like the fruit rots. It's crazy. And from a poor mind to a rich mind, this is one of the fundamental keys to having a rich mind. There are more, as I mentioned, the rest of my process, which I will move on to now. This here, the 5 keys to the rich mind, go grab it. You can grab it from my website, which is, I should know what my website is. It's enchantedhypnosis.com.au. Rich mind, I believe. We'll get that link to you. I will double check it. So the next steps, essentially, you need to find out, like, go grab this. I'll get the link in the chat and in the description when I upload the video. The next steps is basically to find out what's limiting you, what's holding you back, what are your limiting beliefs. You can do this yourself at home. Go do it. Plenty of videos. You can find out what's limiting you really easily, and knowing is the first step. You need to know what is holding you back. If you don't know what's holding you back, then you can't do anything about it. Unlock your rich mind. enchantedhypnosis.com/unlock your rich mind. I can get that into the chat now for you all, and I'll put that in the description as well. So find out what your limitations are, take action, actually do something. That's it. You know, there's a lot of good stuff here, and if you do nothing with it, then you wasted your evening. Go do something. Actually write down what your beliefs about money are. See if they're helpful, see if they're not. Easiest thing to do. Take 10 minutes. I believe money is, and then just keep writing. And cool. If you're interested in breaking through your limitations, if you're interested in getting yourself a rich mind, book a call. Book a 10-minute call with me. No sale, just about whether or not we should work together. And you can do that at http://bit.ly/rich call. And here's the URL for that. 5 keys to the rich mind, which there's a lot of great information on there about what you need, what's required to unlock your rich mind. All right, fantastic. Are there any questions? Cool. Fantastic. All right. Well, I will bid you all good night. I hope this has been informative. Again, go ahead, check out their website, grab your keys to the rich mind. And if you're interested in finding out how you can break through them with someone who actually specializes in that, then book a quick call, bit.ly/rich call. Just book a 10-minute call and we will talk. Fantastic. Have a good night, everyone. Cheers.